Ftit ġimgħat ilu iltqajna ma' Julius Neħoraj li jgħix Malta u huwa chairman tat-Tajjar Foundation, grupp li salvagwardja il-wirt ludi f'Malta. Julius huwa miżewweġ lil Rose li hija Awċija. Illum se nisimgħu l-istorja ta' Rose li se titkellem magħna dwar il-ħajja tal-familja tagħha u kif jgħixu ħajja serena minkejja li kemm hi u żewġha żammu ir-reliġjonijiet differenti tagħhom.
I was living in London at the time, and Julius was living in Los Angeles, so it was a bit of a challenge to meet up, but we did manage, and within about a year we got properly together. Julius moved to the UK, and we have lived happily ever after ever since.
And a friend of ours said, you should meet, because she used to come to Los Angeles on business.
I used to business, yeah.
But in fact, I was then visiting London, which was the opportunity for us to get together. So I phoned her up, and she was busy. She was at the Hyde Park Hotel as the Director of Sales and Marketing. So I thought I'd better play this gently. I said, would you like to meet for lunch? She said, no, I can't meet for lunch. But she said, I could meet you for dinner. Oh, all right.
I was born in Sannat, Gozo. My father died when I was a baby, so not even a year old. My mother was quite young, and we had our initial education in Gozo, which was excellent, and then we moved to the UK, and my mother had remarried to my wonderful second father, and we spent about 30 odd years in London until Julius dragged me to Malta, because he absolutely loves Malta and couldn't wait for us to come and live here. I have two uncles who are priests, and when you see somebody happy and each living their own, following their own religion, and really and truly the two religions work very well together, and I respect my religion tremendously, and so also Julius's Jewish religion, and we celebrate both sides of the religion, I suppose. He supports me in mine, I support him in his. We're forever celebrating various Jewish festivals, and Julius enjoys the Christian religion festivals, especially Christmas. It depends how strict you are when you follow your religion, but I think everybody has to have an open mind, and there are many good things about every religion, and if one follows the true path, I suppose, and the true values of each religion, I think there should be no conflict. And at the end of the day, as long as one leads a good life, respect each other, and respect the proper values that will lead us hopefully to heaven, we should all live comfortably together. Any religion has very good values, and I think one doesn't obsess and start inventing lots of prejudices, etc. My family, well, I have, unfortunately, I had a brother who we loved dearly, but he passed away a few years ago, and I have two younger sisters from my second father, and lots of relatives, obviously, most of them in the UK, but my brother's children live here, my nephew and nieces, and I am very lucky that Julius has 3 wonderful kids and 8 even more wonderful grandchildren who we're very close to, so I'm very blessed to have quite an extended family.
Kont taf li hemm 200 persuna Lhudija residenti f'Malta? L-istorja tal-Lud f'Malta tmur lura mijiet ta' snin, u prova ta' dan huma kunjomijiet bħal Ellul, Parnis u Refalo li oriġinaw miż-żmien meta il-komunità Lhudija f'Malta kienet waħda imdaqsa. Biex iqajmu aktar għarfien dwar l-istorja tal-Lut u l-persekuzzjoni tagħhom, it-Tajjar Foundation f'Malta qed iwasslu wirja tal-ħajja ta' Anne Frank, tifla Lhudija li inqatlet fil-kamp tal-konċentrament fil-Ġermanja fis-sena 1945.
The Jewish community in Malta is small, but it's tight, and everybody pulls together, which is wonderful. In fact, the Jewish communities always hang out together. They respect each other tremendously. I found that bond is very strong, probably stronger than any other environment I've actually been exposed to. So it's always been attractive. Well, Malta of this day and age is so different to when I left in the early 70s. But it's very comfortable, very nice to live here. It's, as long as one travels every so often, just to see a little bit of greenery, then, you know, really we have everything we need here in Malta. And Gozo in particular is so beautiful, and there are so many wonderful gems, and hope we won't destroy a lot of these wonderful hidden coves and charm, you know, a lot of the quaintness of the island. We have been spending quite a bit of time in Gozo during the pandemic because it's the only place to travel to, and we've discovered so many areas that we hadn't actually spent time at in the past. So it's actually been really very nice.
Għandek xi kummenti dwar il-kultura Lhudija jew l-intervista li segwejna illum ma' Rose Neħoraj? Ibgħat il-kummenti tiegħek permezz tal-WhatsApp fuq in-numru li jidher fuq l-iskrin. L-Iżrael huwa wieħed mill-aktar pajjiżi diversi fid-dinja. Ħafna drabi dan il-pajjiż huwa assoċjat ma' konflitt politiku. L-Iżrael huwa pajjiż li jinsab fis-salib tat-toroq ta' ħafna kulturi u reliġjonijiet. Minn Tel Aviv sa Ġerusalemm, Negev sal-Baħar il-Mejjed, Kassarja sal-ġonna sbieħ ta' Ħajfa. Huwa pajjiż sabiħ biex iżżur. Tel Aviv hija belt vivaċi u meqjusa bħala ċentru ekonomiku importanti madwar id-dinja. F'Tel Aviv hemm aktar minn 14 kilometru ta' kosta u bajjiet. F'Tel Aviv issib minn shopping malls enormi u swieq tradizzjonali fil-beraħ, kafitteriji, ristoranti u kiosks. Camel Market f'Tel Aviv huwa famuż għall-ikel u l-atmosfera. Il-lokalità ta' Ġaffa huwa wieħed mill-partijiet l-aktar antiki ta' Tel Aviv, fejn hemm influwenza Arbija qawwija. Kassarja hija belt tal-port b'teatru Ruman kbir li għadu jintuża llum. Ħaifa hija waħda mill-isbaħ bliet tal-Iżrael u hija belt importanti għan-nies li jissegwu il-fidi tal-Baħaj. Fil-muntanja Hermon wieħed jista' jsib raħal ta' Druż. Id-Drużi huma minoranza etnika reliġjuża fl-Iżrael. Mount Hermon hija l-ogħla parti fl-Iżrael b'xenarju sabiħ ta' muntanji u fix-xitwa hija ski resort. Hija wkoll żona militari bejn is-Sirja u l-Libanu. Fis-sena 1967, il-Golan Heights li kienet parti mis-Sirja saret parti mill-Iżrael. Illum din iż-żona hija sorveljata mill-United Nations imħabba it-tensjoni f'dan ir-reġjun. In-Nazaret fit-tramuntana tal-Iżrael huwa wieħed mill-aktar postijiet importanti għall-Kristjani. Huwa wkoll l-akbar belt arbija fl-Iżrael. Ġerusalemm hija belt importanti għall-Insara, il-Mużulmani u l-Lut. Kibbutz huwa tip ta' insedjament agrikolu li huwa uniku għall-Iżrael. Illum hemm aktar minn 270 kibbutzim fil-Iżrael. Ilat tinsab fil-frontiera mal-Eġittu u l-Ġordan u fuq il-Baħar l-Aħmar. Din hija introduzzjoni żgħira ta' dan il-pajjiż, imma llum se niltaqgħu ma' nies mill-Iżrael li qed jisejħu lil Malta darhom. Muska, it's a very exciting day for you with regards to your education program.
Yes, tomorrow we're going to open our summer school for the Jewish kids in Malta. It's a yearly program that we do every summer. It's a full month of July that we allow the Jewish kids living in Malta and not getting Jewish education because there is no Jewish school at the moment to get Jewish education with a full month of lots of fun, activities, hands-on, so they get some supplement for what they're missing.
Tell me about the girls that arrived from Israel to help you out.
Yeah. So every year we bring a group of volunteers from Israel who are coming with all the enthusiasm and the excitement in order to get to know these kids and teach them and give them the experience. We bring them especially from Israel, first of all, because they're very much dwelt into all the educational aspect of Jewish education, but also because they're Hebrew speakers, and we try to implement the Hebrew language in the kids as well during this
So
month.
you're teaching Hebrew to all the Jewish children who are resident in Malta?
Yes, so basically the Hebrew studies, we have an after-school activity that we do as well for the Jewish kids in the island to teach them Hebrew and Jewish culture, so they come once a week. But this is just a supplement, so it's a full month that they get exposed to the Hebrew language and they use it, so it's being more implemented.
What sort of subjects do you cover apart from Hebrew language?
So it's a lot about the Jewish traditions, the Jewish values mainly, because we have in our religion, in our tradition, we have many values for daily life, and we take the opportunity to give it to them in a fun way, so they implement it and with all the senses. It could be honoring parents, it could be helping a needy, it could be happiness, although even in harder times, it could be many other values and Jewish traditions like kosher, Shabbat, holidays and stuff.
What's your background as an educator?
So before I came to Malta, my degree was, my profession is being a teacher. I love it. I feel it's a great mission to pass on to the next generation all the values and whatever we know. In fact, we believe that every person is kind of educator because life is all about learning. We all learn from each other, and we need to take every opportunity to pass the goodness that we have to others, especially to the next generation, who is the one to pass it on to the next. So since we came to Malta and we established Chabad of Malta Foundation, which is basically a local organization for the Jewish, to promote the Judaism in Malta, so for the Jewish locals and for the tourists and for local Maltese who are interested about Jewish life. So one of the main aspects of our activity is education. Education is not just about children, although we have lots of activities with the children, like as I said, the Hebrew school during the year and the summer school. But we have also education with the teenagers, we have with adults, for men, women, the rabbi, me. We try to get to as many age groups as possible in this short 24 hours of the day.
Iċ-ċentru Ludi tal-Ħabad ġo Malta twaqqaf fis-sena 2013 minn Rabbi Shalom u sinjura tiegħu Mushka Segel. For those people who are watching us now and don't know you, you are the rabbi's wife also, and you came from Brooklyn in New York. It must have been quite a culture shock for you.
So in fact, the international organization of Chabad is, the headquarters is in Brooklyn, but we personally came here from Israel. So it was a bit of a change of culture, it is, I must say. But Maltese are very welcoming, so the landing was very soft.
That's very nice of you to say that. How many Jewish people do you believe there are in Malta? There are some Maltese who are Jewish.
Yeah, so we are in contact with about 500, and believe, I'm sure it's thousands, because every other day, week, month, we get to know of more Jews who live in Malta. Some of them are new relocators, but some of them are even Maltese families that live with the years. Sometimes it's just assimilated, or sometimes it's just that they used to live keeping a secret as they're Jewish, and now when they hear about Judaism in Malta more revived and alive, so they feel comfortable to expose their Judaism.
So what you're saying is they weren't open about having Jewish origin?
No.
No.
No. I know of a fact of history that there was a time that the people who wanted to marry here in Malta, they had to promise or swear or, make an obligation that they will grow up their kids as Christians. So many Jewish women who got married to Maltese here in Malta, so they had to continue raising their kids as Christians, bringing them to church and believing they're Christian, although they knew they're Jewish. So there are many families with like second, third generations here in Malta who know they're Jewish, but they live their life as Christians. So it's like a dual citizenship.
Yes, yes.
Kind of.
But it's quite nice that they can be open about it now.
Yes, because heritage is always nice to connect to your roots. Malta has a long history of Jewish life, since thousands of years. There are many evidence, and I think it's something nice. I mean, the relationship between Maltese and Jewish were always there.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to revive it and to make it happen once again.
Tell me about the girls, Mushka. What is their background?
So we have 6 volunteers. They're all started to learn education, so they're all in the field of education. They came for a full month to Malta to voluntarily in order to help us and give this great experience to the kids. They're full of energy, full of excitement, and we're sure it's going to be the best month possible for the Jewish kids in Malta.
What are the main points of Judaism that you're trying to pass on to keep alive?
So in order to pass on, keep alive Judaism, and in general, one of the fundamental aspects of Judaism is about education. In our commandments, the parents has an obligation to give education to their kids, and throughout the generations, even in harder times, they always sacrificed their life or their money or whatever they had in order to give the education to their next generation, because we know and we believe that the next generation is the one to make up the next generation, to pass on. Not only the parents have the obligation, but the heads of the communities always had the obligation to make sure there is education institutions for these kids to get the Jewish education and in general to be educated. And this is why, arriving in Malta, one of the first things we made sure there is the facility of Jewish education for the kids in Malta, not only for the Jewish kids, teenagers and adults, but also Jewish education in general.
Tell me about your experience coming here to Malta.
Well, we came just 1 day ago, and we were so excited. We are coming here to give from ourselves, and we have all of the high school. We got ready to this moment to give to the next generation from our knowledge and our experience, our Judaism, what we can to give.
What are you studying in Israel?
Education. I mean, all of the subjects, Maths, English. We had the exams, and next year I'm going to a college to learn education.
Shayna, you arrived yesterday in Malta. What do you think of Malta so far?
I'm so excited, and it's a very beautiful country, and it's very nice, and I'm very happy to be here to volunteer. And I very love kids, and I love to be here.
What are you studying in Israel?
I'm in high school, so I study normal high school, but I have good kids after school and all the year, girls.
Ftit ġimgħat ilu iltqajna wkoll ma' Julius u Rose Nehoraj. Waqt l-intervisti ispjegaw kif Julius li huwa ludi u ċittadin tal-Istati Uniti u Rose li hija Maltija u Nisranija iżżewġu aktar minn 30 sena ilu u jgħixu ħajja tranquilla mingħajr ma għamlu bidla fil-fidi tagħhom.
Well, it happens more often than you'd think. In fact, one of the big concerns in Judaism is that so many people are marrying out, and that includes in Israel. But look, it works very well, providing there's certain tolerance and understanding. Of course, in many cases, people convert one way or the other. In our case, perhaps because children aren't involved, that didn't become an issue. But no, generally speaking, there's no reason. The two religions are more similar than you might possibly imagine. I can think of 3 or 4 prayers I've heard in church which are not similar to our prayers. They are our prayers. They are identical. So there's many, many similarities.
The Jewish community in Malta is small, but it's tight, and everybody pulls together, which is wonderful. In fact, the Jewish communities always hang out together. They respect each other tremendously. I found that bond is very strong, probably stronger than any other environment I've actually been exposed to. So it's always been attractive.
We get lots of interest and requests to learn and know about the Jewish culture, also because it's part of the history of Malta, but also because it's one of the main, it's a significant religion around. And we are looking for the way to forward to have the opportunity to pass it on. And this is one of the reasons that the new center we're establishing now for the Jewish Center, first Jewish Center in Malta, one of the main aspects of it will be education. There will be education area for the Jewish kids, adults in Malta, that they can get their supplement education, but also there will be an information center and a visitor center for both the tourists and the local, mainly the local people that want to get more information, more education, more hands-on, to experience some of the Jewish history and the Jewish culture in Malta.
And we have to point out perhaps that that's why this year you're renting premises here in Malta to do this education program, but eventually you'll be using your own.
Right, so since we came, we're always on rentals. And it's becoming a challenge because every year we have more kids, the community expands, and we need every year to look for a new place. It's not like we rented one place and that's it, we're set for the next of the years.
You're growing all the time.
We're growing definitely. Now in this summer we're having 2 new families joining our summer school, and they just arrived this past few months, so they didn't even manage to become, I mean, it's the first time we're going to see them is tomorrow. New people are arriving when they know there is Jewish facilities, so they feel more comfortable coming and settling in Malta.
Why are they coming here? Are they coming here to work?
Yes, businesses or relocations, and some of them are just looking, for example, for European country English speaking. I mean, eventually they work here, but first they come and then they look for work. But yes, I mean, many.
Yes.
It's amazing how small and how many people are attracted.
Hawnhekk qed naraw ritratti ta' proposti tal-pjanijiet tal-binja Lhudija ġewwa Taslima li qiegħda ssemmi Muxka Marti Rabaj. And what's just something that's obviously vital, because everyone has to eat. What does one do if they want to buy ingredients that are kosher? Do you find them around in Malta?
So we self-import a lot of them. You can find very few that are imported with a kosher signature on it.
Kosher ma jfissirx li l-ikel ġie imbierek mir-rabaj. Il-kelma kosher tfisser ikel xieraq u adattat biex tiklu. Hawn huma ftit mir-regoli bażiċi li jagħmlu l-ikel kosher. L-ewwel hija importanti li tażel l-annimali biss li huma kosher. Il-ħut kosher jeħtieġ ix-xewk u l-iskali. Id-dundjan, it-tiġiġ u l-papra huma kosher. Il-bajt kollu tagħhom huwa kosher ukoll. Il-ħnieżer u ż-żwiemel pereżempju mhumiex kosher. L-annimali u l-asafar kosher għandhom jiġu ippreparati b'ċertu mod u jinqatlu b'mod kosher. Għandu jinqatel minn ċertu post fuq l-onq. L-annimal jiġi ċċekkjat li huwa b'saħħtu. id-dem jitneħħa u ħafna drabi il-laħam jiġi mxarrab u immellaħ. Il-laħam u prodotti tal-ħalib qatt m'għandhom jitħaltu. Trid tistenna mill-inqas 6 sigħat biex tikol prodotti tal-ħalib wara l-laħam, pereżempju. L-ikel kosher ma jistax jiġi preparat b'għodda tal-kċina li mhijiex kosher. Il-ħxejjex u l-frott ġeneralment huma kosher. Imma kif tkun taf jekk l-ikel fil-lanet pereżempju huwiex kosher jew le? Trid tiċċekkja fuq it-tikketta. Dawn is-simboli jindikaw li ġew issorveljati minn awtorità kosher. Dejjem għandek bżonn tiftakar li ma tistax tħallat il-laħam u l-ħalib. Il-ħaxix u l-berries pereżempju jeħtieġu li jiġu ċċekkjati għall-insetti. L-imbit jeħtieġ li jiġi immaniġjat minn xi ħadd ludi biex ikun kosher. Ftit mill-ikel jeħtieġ li jiġi ippreparat minn persuna ludija biex ikun kosher. Dan japplika għal ħobs ukoll. Ikel li ġej mill-Iżrael jeħtieġ li jiġi ċċekkjat li huwa kosher. Jekk tixtieq taf aktar dwar l-ikel kosher, żur is-sit elettroniku www.chabad.org.
We used to operate the kosher restaurant, if you remember, in next to Spinola Bay, but now the new restaurant will be in the new Jewish center, much expanded and with more services, with the kosher catering. As I said, we import lots of the stuff from other European countries where they have larger Jewish communities and they have the production there, or they make big import from other countries. And yes, I mean, the kosher kitchen is my kitchen.
Jekk għandkom xi kummenti ibatuhom fuq in-numru li jidher fuq l-iskrin permezz tal-WhatsApp. Issa sa ngħaddu għal waqfa qasira u sa nkun magħkom dalwaqt. Grazzi li jedin maħna, sanatu ħarsa issa lejn il-kultura Lhudija f'Malta u għalek sanatu ħarsa u koll lejn l-istorja ta' Anne Frank. Thank you very much, Julius and Rose, for welcoming us here to your home.
That's a pleasure.
Who's behind this exhibition?
Well, this is our foundation, which is called the Tayar Foundation for Jewish Heritage in Malta, which was set up in 2018. This is our first major project, and it was to honour a family called the Tayars. Many people probably know George Tayar, who was one of the founders of Marks and Spencer's on the island and a famous philanthropist here. And then his wife Shelley, who we were very friendly with, she passed away in 2018, and that was a catalyst to form this foundation.
Did you meet Shelley in Malta?
Yes, when I first came to Malta 18 years ago, I wanted to get in touch with the Jewish community, and she was the leader of the Jewish community, and we became very, very good friends, and she introduced us to many people, and it really made our stay on the island much more pleasant.
What was she like?
Well, she was born in Jerusalem before Israel was Israel, and she was a larger-than-life sort of personality. She was a journalist, and her first husband had died many years before, and then she knew George Tayyar. They got married, but unfortunately he died within a couple of years thereafter. She was madly in love with him, so this was quite a tragedy. But she became the leader of the Jewish community and had an enormous circle of friends. And, well, she was just great, good fun and very enjoyable. It's not just the heritage, but it's also maintaining the cemeteries, for example. There are 3 cemeteries here, one of which was a slave cemetery, can you believe? And we're renovating and maintaining these cemeteries and bringing Jewish cultural events such as the Anne Frank exhibition.
Tell me more about Anne Frank. Why is there, do you think, such a fascination about her all over the world?
Yes, it is amazing. I mean, the Anne Frank Foundation puts on some 300 exhibitions a year worldwide. And this has been going on, I don't know, since the last 50, 60 years. I think because she was a brilliant journalist. What a contribution she might have made had she lived. But she died when she was 16, of course. And I think the story that just ignites people's imaginations. Here was this young girl who wrote so beautifully about what was a horrifying experience, being locked up for nearly 2.5 years, but still coped and managed with it so well. The Anne Frank exhibition is all about tolerance and understanding and avoiding conflicts between different cultures and religions and races and so on. And it's beautifully encompassed in her story. The whole exhibition is designed, there's 2 parts. There's the old part, which is her story, and then there's a contemporary part, which deals with more modern day issues of conflict.
And obviously you've got a website and people can come and find out more through the website?
Through our website, or we're advertising on all the social media.
It sounds like quite an ambitious project. You must have put a lot of work into this.
Frankly, yes, but it's grown like a monster. We started off with this small idea just as a physical exhibition. Then because of COVID, we found we had to do a virtual online version of it. Then we had other people saying they'd be interested in hosting the exhibition. So before we knew what happened, we had 4 locations, the online version. There was a gigantic amount of work.
How do you think the Maltese people, especially children, will receive this?
Oh, I've no doubt very well. I mean, 1 or 2 people we've spoken to are very, very keen, and, you know, friends want to bring their children, how do they do it, and so on. So I'm quite sure they'll react very favourably. But it's an interesting question because Malta, being a small island and quite insular, is perhaps quite unaware of Jews. After all, there's very few of us, so probably most of them have never met one. So I think this will be a nice opportunity and a very good thing.
How many Jews are there in Malta?
Well, we reckon there's about 200.
And out of those 200, how many would be Maltese?
Oh, very few. I mean, the Ohayon family, our rabbi is Rabbi Ohayon. They've been here for generations, so they must count 20 or 30 in their family, wider family alone. But not many more. There's a few other families, Reginianos and so on, but there are not many old Maltese Jewish families.
Tell me a bit about your place of worship.
Well, we have a small synagogue in Tashbish. This was quite unfortunate. There used to be a bigger one in Valletta, but about 20 years ago, an adjoining building was demolished and this became unsafe, and so they had to leave it. And then we had no synagogue. And with such a tiny community, there was few resources to find somewhere else. Eventually, they managed to pull together a sum of money and buy this small place in Tashbish. But it's quite small, and certainly we need something larger because the community is growing.
You and your wife, Rose, are one of the few families I've met where you've managed to marry the two religions and live very comfortably and are happy with each other's religion. How does that work?
Well, it happens more often than you'd think. In fact, one of the big concerns in Judaism is that so many people are marrying out, and that includes in Israel. But look, it works very well, providing there's certain tolerance and understanding. Of course, in many cases, people convert one way or the other. In our case, perhaps because children aren't involved, that didn't become an issue. But generally speaking, there's no reason. The two religions are more similar than you might possibly imagine. I can think of 3 or 4 prayers I've heard in church which are not similar to our prayers. They are our prayers. They are identical. So there's many, many similarities.